Everybody, it's Matt at Sparkle Farm. It's the next day from me cleaning this out. We actually have a good flow going through underneath the driveway, but you can see it's all backed up again. We definitely got like the inch of rain that they were talking about, and it all ends up coming through here, so it's probably good 10-15 acres that all gets diverted through here. So yeah, that's all swamp over there for a good ways. Kind of disappointing, but we'll do something with it someday. But yeah, I think I'm not going to mess with it today. It's New Year's Day. Just going to take it easy. Just want to make sure what I did actually was doing something and not just a problem. And grading the driveway worked out really well. Actually, we had a couple big branches up by the house, towards the house, and I'm looking down towards the street now, and we have a kind of a big log that fell. Nothing I can't pick up and just kick off to the side, but we're having some family over later to celebrate, and we're going to be smoking a pork roast. Alan's going to make the injection for it, and we're going to put that in shortly. But yeah, just kicking off all the sticks on the road. But yeah, that's what we're into for New Year's Day. Just low key. And let me show you the one branch. So a little bigger than I want my relatives' cars to be driving over. But more of this dead stuff falling down when no one's around, the better. Like I know I've mentioned it several times in the past. The property was just neglected. No one did like anything to it, and so with the amount of acres we have, it's sometimes a little overwhelming what needs to be done, but that's why we call this all our small projects on our big project here on Sparkle Farm. All right, let me get back in, see if Sparkle needs any help in the kitchen, and yeah, we'll show you how we smoke our pork roast.
Hi, welcome back to Sparkle's Kitchen. It's New Year's Day, and when it comes to New Year's meals, we are traditionalists, so that means pork. The reason behind pork on New Year's Day is that according to legend and maybe agricultural fact, I'm not sure, pigs don't go backwards. So it's all about looking forward in the new year. And so we enjoy having our pork roast. We like pork roast anyway, so it's nice to have an excuse to make one on a special occasion. So we've got our pork roast right here. This is just over 2 pounds, and I've already got it seasoned with just an all-purpose kind of poultry and roast type of seasoning blend. So just lots of sugar, spices, salt, pepper, all kinds of stuff in here. So this is ready to go, except for one important thing. We are going to inject it with a garlic solution that we mix up in the Vitamix, and it makes all of our roasts that we put on our smoker come out great. So we'll show you how we make that injection. So I've got garlic here, and I'm going to start by peeling my garlic. All right, so we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cloves of garlic. I'm just trying to get some good garlic flavor. So I've got my garlic in there. Now I'm going to add to that some olive oil. Again, just a nice generous pour is good. And then a little bit of water. And then I'm going to add to that a pinch of salt. And we're going to mix this up in the Vitamix. Got my lid on. And that is just what we were going for. It's a nice, thin, very garlicky, I think we smelled up the whole house, mixture that we can easily inject into our pork.
Hey, everybody.
It's Matt's job to inject the meat. He's much better with the injector than I am.
Alright, so you can just do a little at a time, but I randomly just pick spots and you just kind of follow it in. You usually get plugged up with a little piece of garlic, but I just inject randomly. And it helps that we both really like garlic.
Yeah, you really need to like garlic, which luckily we both do, and well, I guess everyone that we know. If you don't like garlic, then probably not, our house is not the right place to eat.
Mm-hmm. That's why earlier this fall, or in the fall, we planted, I think, 120 garlic cloves. So we can put a link to the video up there, but that's how much we like garlic. Then with everything that you can't get in, because I still have a bottom full, you can just glaze the whole top with it.
Yeah, this is gonna be good.
All right. So that's how we inject our pork with garlic, and I'm gonna go get the smoker fired up now, and once it gets up to temp, I'm gonna put the roast on.
And while Matt's doing that, I'm going to make some biscuits to go with our dinner. So while the smoker is heating up, I'm here still in the kitchen, about to make these baking powder biscuits. So this is one of our favorite go-to recipes. We make batches of them at a time, and then eat them for a couple of days, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So the dry ingredients are already in my bowl here. It's pretty simple. It's just flour, sugar, salt, and then I've added onion powder and garlic powder because this is for our dinner tonight, and I wanted them to be a little bit more savory. When we make them for breakfast, usually I leave that out. So we've got those ingredients already in here. Now what we're going to do is cut in our shortening. So I've got half a cup of shortening. Just gonna plop that in there, and then use my pastry cutter to just work it in and get it all mixed up with the dry ingredients. So the goal here is to get a mixture that is pretty crumbly. So once the shortening gets all mixed in, you start to get these bigger crumbly chunks. So you can see it's starting to get nice and chunky. That's just what I want to see. And I don't see any big pieces of shortening left that need to be blended. So that tells me we are good to go on mixing in the shortening. Now I'm going to add 3/4 of a cup of milk. And then I'm just going to stir that up. And the key with this is it's going to be messy, sticky. It kind of look like this. And You might think, I don't know what I'm supposed to do with that, but it all comes out good in the end. So I usually get it just kind of wet like this, and then from there I actually just dump it right out onto a work surface where I can start kneading it. And you're gonna have lots of flour left over at this point, which is good, so that'll help keep your work surface from sticking. Alright, so I basically just dumped out the contents there, including a bunch of flour that was left at the bottom. And I'm going to now use that flour to help work this dough and get it to a point where I can actually knead it. So I'm just kind of getting it all floury on the outside. Now I'm going to flip it over, make sure there's plenty of flour, and then I'm just going to start working it. So you want to knead this about 10 times. So you're not overworking it, that's the key. You want to keep it kind of loose and crumbly, but just get it to a point where it all sticks together and you can actually roll it out and make some biscuits. So I'm feeling pretty good here. This is staying together nicely. I'm just going to work in a couple of these little crumbly pieces. Okay. Alright. So now I've got a good hunk of biscuit dough. I'm going to use my rolling pin to just spread that out, just somewhere around 1/2 inch in thickness. Cutter over there. So I'm going to use my 3-inch round biscuit cutter to cut out biscuits that will look like this. And then I'm going to place them in my round stoneware. So I just cut 5 biscuits from that first rollout. Depending on how big you want your biscuits, certainly you could do smaller, maybe your 1 or 2-inch biscuit cutter, you could make them thinner or thicker. I tend to like them, just like this, 3 inches in diameter and about 1/2 inch thick. But anyway, so at that measurement, I usually get about 8 biscuits. So that's 8, and then I've got kind of scraps left over here, and that's pretty typical for me. So I usually just kind of pound it out, and then I use my biscuit cutter to make it more or less round, and then this becomes that one biscuit that you eat right out of the oven because, it didn't come out right. I'm not going to serve it to my guests, so I'll just have to eat it right now. It's always nice to have one of those. So this is kind of the odd lumpy biscuit that I put in the middle and get to snack on right away. So that's that. So we've got our stoneware here with 9 biscuits in it, ready to go. We'll pop this in the oven, 450 degrees for about 12-13 minutes. They'll get nice and golden brown, and we'll be good to go. Thanks.
All right, this is our pork roast right before I'm about to put it on the smoker. All right, I wanted to show you. This is our pork roast right before we're gonna put it on the smoker. I have the smoker warmed up to 200 degrees. It's looking good, so let's go put this on and get cooking. All right, Alright, so we got our Green Mountain Grill going on. The Davy Crockett. Just gonna give it a quick flip. Get it in there. And that's it. Yeah. Well, you can do one more thing. So this is the temp probe for it. Stick that in. Smoky. No kidding. So that's in there about an inch and a half. And we're just gonna let it go to town.